Joining me now is Malcolm Nance, MSNBC counterterrorism and intelligence analyst, and Butch Jones, who spent more than 36 years as a Capitol Police officer. And Officer Jones, I have to go to you first on this. So we have one report, but it doesn't get into the why that it happened. But what do you make of the findings that were there, that Capitol Police were essentially left completely unprotected and unprepared?
Number one, I think that Capitol Police made a big mistake in not being prepared. But in that mistake, you have to also recognize that the Sergeant-at-Arms of the Capitol, Sergeant-at-Arms of the House are responsible for making sure that Capitol Police have the necessary backup, the necessary equipment, the necessary whatever to take care of the demonstration. To me, is the pot calling the kettle black. Because if Congress is not going to have an independent audit of what happened, we will never find out the real reason of January the 6th. And to blame Capitol Police for this, I take it an assault against the police department. You got Mitch McConnell. You have the congressman from New Orleans. You have, I can't think of his name, McCarthy. Get 24/7 security year round. And they still voted not to protect the police officers that protect them. I think it is a disgrace that Congress is not held responsible or held accountable for what they did.
Yeah. And let me play, this is Senate Majority Leader Schumer on the point that we still need an independent body to answer those same questions that you just heard Officer Jones bring up. But take a listen.
Well, we do believe there ought to be a commission to go forward. They almost assiduously avoided the two words that are vital to finding out what happened on January 6th, Donald Trump. The Republicans reportedly didn't want any mention of him at all. And to find out, I think we should find out if other members of Congress participated in this as well.
I mean, and this is still the point, Malcolm. We still don't know, basic questions. Ali Alexander has said that members of Congress helped him in the planning. He's now in hiding. There's so much that we still don't know about whether members of Congress gave tours in advance. We had panic buttons that were ripped out. Can you explain this? I mean, let's go. Let me give you one more piece of information, then I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you go at it. Across the country, per the New York Times, a rising class of Republicans have embraced the idea that the election itself is illegitimate. Mainly, they've taken in the big lie as their new orthodoxy. To build a campaign for the modern GOP, most candidates must embrace, or at least not openly deny, conspiracy theories and election lies, and they must commit to a mission of imposing greater voting restrictions, making it easier to challenge or even overturn elections. And Trump is gearing up to do this again. Your thoughts, Malcolm?
Well, first, let me give my props to Butch for spending 36 years in the Capitol Police. I spent all that time in the military, and apparently your job was a little more dangerous, just as dangerous as mine was in Iraq at some point. This is ridiculous that we're even here having a discussion about whether an investigation is appropriate. Let me tell you, what happened on January 6th, and I'll go to your point, Joy, is we told any terrorist, whoever wants to attack the Capitol, how to do it, what capacity they could infiltrate their way in. We talked on the very night of January 6th on this program about there potentially being murder cells within that group. And now we're finding out people did go into the Capitol with the intent to commit murder. We have officers who witnessed that those statements. So that being said, what the entire process that has gone since the Capitol has been fed by, as we all know, the big lie. And since that time, and I know a 1,000-word book on this, is that the big lie has overtaken the entirety of the Republican orthodoxy. QAnon without the letter Q now controls the Republican Party. So Donald Trump believes all these rumors about, about the count in Arizona and other states that he thinks is going to put him back in power, because being a liar is the hallmark of advancement in the Republican Party. Charlie Sykes actually has a great term for it, right? Disinformation competition. You have to be a greater liar than the next person to advance in the Republican Party. So they start making fantasies up. It is a party of delusion.
Yeah, it's also been described as late-stage Bolshevism, that old party from the 1970s. It sort of feels like that as well. Officer Butch Jones, would you trust an investigation of what happened that Republicans, I don't want you to be partisan about it, but if they're sympathetic to this, as what Malcolm Nance has said, would you trust an investigation that members of that party were involved in?
No, I wouldn't. And it's because we, the people, need to put more pressure on Congress and make them be responsible. Congress got a blank check. They do exactly what they want to do. By showing you that they're not going to investigate what happened January 6th, is saying they don't care about our democracy because Donald Trump don't want them to care about our democracy. So until we, as the people, show them how important our vote is, not the day after election, but the whole term, and put pressure on Congress, everybody need to call their member of Congress and say, we want this investigation. Not ask them, but tell them. And until these people put a little pressure on Congress, Congress got a blank check. Nobody answer for Congress.
Yeah.
And to me, how you going to settle anything if Congress don't have to answer to the people?